said, my name is Becky Armstrong. And thank you. My fans. And I've been single for a couple of years now. And by years, I mean decades. And by a couple, I mean 3, or, well, 4, 5 if you do that Canadian penny rounding up thing. So, but that's it. Little did I know in my life, though, that in order to get picked up and carried away by a man, all I really needed to do was go to Africa. So this is my story on how to get picked up by a man while in Africa. So VocalEye is a UK travel company that specializes in taking the blind and the visually impaired on vacations around the world. So I decided to go on their Cape Town adventure, but that was only 10 days, and it was only in Cape Town and the areas around there. There's no way in heck I'm going halfway around the world to Africa and not going on safari, because seeing the animals is a big part of Africa. So I announced to my friends and my family, I'm going on my own to a safari in Africa. Middle-aged blind woman, what could go wrong? So when I announced this to them, I am greeted with what I can only assume are blank stares and the question, what? Are you insane or just stupid? And then followed with, seriously, are you going to get your money's worth? Like, what are you even going to be able to see? And on the blind to visually impaired scale, I've actually got it fairly good. I've lost all my central vision, so I don't see a lot of detail, but I still have 20–30% of my peripheral, so I can still get around, see basic shapes. And as I said, once I figure out you're a human, and whether you're a boy or a girl, I just assume you look like Brad or Angelina. So, why not? And anyway, Africa is home of the Big 5. They're called the Big 5 for a reason. They're big. The African elephant is the largest land mammal in the world. I've got to be able to see that, right? It's also got the zebra, which is the highest contrast animal in the world. And for those visually impaired, we know how important contrast is. So between the zebra, the elephant, I figure I'm going to get my money's worth. So off to Africa. I decided I was going to stay at an all-inclusive private game lodge. So this is where they take care of you. They organize all the safari. They feed you all your meals. Sorry, this mic is a little crazy. They feed you all your meals. They take care of you. You sleep there. You stay in the camp. So it's not like I'm wandering. Okay. It's not like I'm going to be wandering around an African village looking for a bus stop for somebody to take me into the jungle where I can feel an elephant. So I fly halfway around the world, take me to the airport, bring me to the lodge. As I get to the lodge, as we're pulling in, the guy who's driving the street, he's like, look, down there in the river, there's an elephant. And I'm like, cool. I grab my little binocular to help me see, and yes, there is a bull elephant in the river, 100 meters from the lodge. It's like fantastic. I'm not even in the park 5 minutes, and I've seen my first elephant. Life is good. Suck it, friends. I'm going to do just fine. So, for the next day and a half, we go out on daily safaris. And how that works is everybody that's staying at the lodge, and at this point, there's only 6 of us there, so it's a very, very small group, which is really great. And they take you out in these jeeps. They're covered jeeps, but they're open on the side, but you're safe in the jeep. And then they give you a driver who, in this case, was also our tracker and our guide. So it was his responsibility to find the animals, point them out, tell us about them, all that fun stuff. And for us, our driver guide was named Isaac. And he was wonderful. He was this older gentleman, probably my age. And he just had such a calm, gentle demeanor. It was just beautiful. He had that rich baritone voice, calmness. As I said, I don't see a lot of detail, so I don't know exactly what he looked like. But in my brain, I'm picturing Sidney Poitier. And for those of you in the room who are too young to know who Sidney Poitier is, he is your mother's Denzel Washington. Okay, so we go out the first day and a half, and we see everything. We see 4 of the Big 5, and let's face it, most people don't get to see the leopard. They hide up in the trees, and my family at this point is not allowed to talk because they did get to see a leopard. But we saw 4 of the Big 5, we saw giraffes, we saw zebras, and when I say we, I mean the other 5 people in the Jeep saw all this, and I saw most of it. So, still, I'm happy. On the last my stay at the park, the other 5 people have left. They've either checked out or they've gone off to the Elephant Museum in Kruger itself. So this is fantastic. I'm going to get Isaac all to myself for the day. And this is good because he knows I'm visually impaired, he knows I've missed a lot, and he can really now take his time to allow me to see the animals. If we sit there for 15 minutes at the watering hole while I try and find the elephant and then just watch them, it's all fine. It's great. So in the afternoon when we're on our safari, we get to this creek bed. Isaac sees something on the ground and he's like, I'm going to check this out. So he hops out of the Jeep, wanders off for a couple hundred meters. He's out of sight to me, but I'm not worried. I'm in the safety of the Jeep. Nothing can happen to you when you're in the Jeep. And that's true. Nothing will happen if you don't, so that's okay. Anyway, he comes back a minute or 2 later, and he's like, okay, come with me. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, come with me. And I'm like, why? And he's like, there's a hippo. There's a hippo in the watering hole over there. He's asleep, but come see the hippo. 2 things. Not everybody knows this, but the most dangerous animal in Africa is the hippo. More people are killed by hippos every year than anything else, than the lion, than the great white sharks that live off the coast. It's the hippo. They look cute and cuddly in a TELUS commercial, but those suckers can move. And let's face it, in a race between my African tracker, 48-year-old middle-aged blind woman, and a hippo, we know which one of us is not coming out of this, okay? So he's like, yeah, come with me. And number 2, you don't leave the safety of the Jeep. You just don't. But Isaac has felt bad for me because I haven't seen as much as everybody else, and he really wants me to get a good experience. So, did I mention earlier that I'm an idiot? That my friends and family thought I was insane? So I don't even think twice. I hop out of the Jeep and follow Isaac. Then we climb over a couple of trees that have fallen down, and we get to the side of the watering hole. Now, all is good. I know Isaac's not going to let me fall in. My family will let me walk into a swimming pool, and that is true. They have done that. But Isaac is going to take care of me because he cares. So when we get there, sorry, family. When we get there, Isaac says, okay, don't worry. We're on a very steep embankment here. The hippo, if he wakes up, he can't run up a steep embankment. He has to go up a gentle incline, and he sort of points over to the left and says, okay, that's where the hippo will come out if he comes out. So I'm like, great, fantastic. He's like, but unfortunately, hippo is sound asleep in the water, and all you can see is his nose coming up every 10 or 15 seconds. Just this little tiny, not so tiny, it's a hippo nose for God's sake. But I didn't see it. So anyway, he tells me, just wait, maybe the hippo will come out. So I crouch down because I think it's a better photo opportunity when I'm crouched down. I don't know why, I just do. So I'm crouched down there, just waiting. And we're in this, this Serengeti, well not Serengeti, that's Kenya, but we're in the savannah of Africa. And it's dead quiet, there's nothing around. So I'm just waiting for this, just waiting for this hippo to come out. And I'm crouched down, got my camera out, and then all of a sudden I hear, whoa, 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 and I'm like, what the? I look over, and Isaac's got his hands up by his mouth, making the craziest noise I've ever heard. I'm like, Isaac, what? And he's like, oh, no worries, hippo mating call. And I'm like, oh, jeez. Because if he's having a heart attack or a seizure, I've got no clue when it goes to the hospital. We're in the middle of, well, not the jungle, but we're in the middle of Kruger National Park. Anyway, he says it's okay, so, okay, no problem. Get back down to my crouching position. And he's still doing a couple of hippo mating calls, no big deal. And then he'll stop, but still no hippo. I'm like, it's too bad. Can't see the nose, but maybe in some of the photos, I will get the nose. So I'm still crouched down, and then I hear this rustling noise behind me, and I'm like, oh God, there's something in the bush. And I look over, and it's Isaac. It's Isaac, and he's picking up like this 10-foot long pole and dragging it to the riverbank. Before I can even clue into what he's about to do with this pole, he starts poking in the watering hole at the hippo. And sort of so he just poked, and I'm like, before I register what's going on, like an alien bursting out of the chest of an astronaut, this hippo erupts out of the watering hole, mouth wide open. If you've seen a hippo mouth, these things are huge. I swear I can see tonsils, that's how close this guy is, making a noise louder than anything you've ever heard coming out of a natural creature before. So before I can even get fully upright from my, fantastic photo position, Isaac has dropped the stick, turned around, picked me up by the waist, thrown me over the shoulder, and he's doing the 110-meter hurdle back to the Jeep. following it up. Anyway, we do make it back to the safety of the Jeep. And once the laughter dies down, and you could probably describe it as hysterical/nervous laughter, we realized we were safe. Because Isaac was correct. In his infinite wisdom, the hippo could not get up the embankment we were at, and he did run off to the side, and once he sort of saw that we weren't in his territory anymore, he was calm. So we went back and got a couple of pictures, and that was that. So in conclusion, the moral of my story is if you want to get picked up by a man in Africa and carried away, always remember to poke a